So we wanted to share with you guys some lessons that we learned about seeing the Northern Lights from our recent trip to Finland.
First thing, the glass igloos. They market as the best place to sleep so you can see the Aurora and Northern Lights. These things run around $1,000 a night, so quite pricey. They're very pretty, don't get me wrong. I would highly recommend adding at least one night to your trip, but they're definitely not the best place to see the Northern Lights. On our trip, we stayed in glass huts about 5 nights, and we saw the Aurora from our hut for 2 of them. One very fleeting. Definitely more of a marketing ploy than anything else. I would pay for them the further north you go. So that's definitely something to consider just because the frequency tends to be higher for seeing the Northern Lights. But being mobile is by far the best way to increase your chances of seeing them.
The next was the color saturation. We all see photos and videos of vibrant dancing lights overhead, huge displays. They certainly can be that. We did see that while there. We also had nights where you could make them out in the sky. You could see the color differences and kind of movement across the night sky and stars. The pictures on the camera turned out really vibrant and great, but they weren't as deep saturation as what you're expecting. Of the 6 hours we spent on our last night watching them taking photos out there, we had about a 45-minute window where they really got intense. I think our KP index was a 4, which is pretty high. And they kind of lived up to what you're expecting, but just be prepared that they may not be that. And you'll still see them, but they may not wow you and light up the entire sky around you.
The next ones are the Northern Lights tours. They're marketed as activities to see the lights, whether it's snowmobiling, Aurora camps, or just jumping in a van to put you in a position to see the lights. A lot of them say guaranteed to see the lights. That's not always the case. Make sure you read the fine print. A lot of times they're guaranteeing to put you in the best place possible, but obviously they can't control the weather, or at least so far. I don't think anyone can control the weather.
We might get there one day. They'll be a little less special then.
Yeah. So think of them more as night activities for the activity itself. And then again, if you see the Aurora, then it becomes a bonus. Just a side note, we went on a snowmobile tour and our guide definitely seemed like he was on a schedule. And as soon as the tour would hit that end time, we were heading back. If we had seen the Aurora, I'm not even sure we would have been able to stick around for very long.
Yeah. Our next one is taking photos when you do see them. Obviously, we've all seen great photos posted online, people's social media, photographers. You certainly can get great photos. We got some really nice ones while we were there. Just pulling out your cell phone, pointing it at the sky, taking a photo may or may not turn out a very good result. We had times where they looked worse in the camera than they did to the naked eye. Other times they look way better. Our biggest tips would be a tripod of any kind. We've got a big, stout, extendable 4-foot tall tripod that we took and used with our camera. Even a tiny little flimsy packable deal, it literally clamps your cell phone, point it where you want, take your photo. Any movement with a long exposure photo is going to show really badly. You get blurs, you get hazing. So if you cannot hold it and you can let the tripod hold it in place, take your photo, it's going to be a lot better. On the same note, any sort of clicker to start that photo process so that you don't have to manually touch the phone or the camera, create little vibrations movement, goes a long ways. If you don't have one, use your timer setting. Put a 2-second timer, click it, step back, let it take the photo. You'll just get crisper, clearer photos in the long run.
All right, our last one is frequency in terms of weather of seeing the Northern Lights. So we always heard go north in the winter, it's dark, you'll definitely see the Aurora. And we did, we absolutely did. But there are so many things that have to go right in order for them to be visible. Things like cloud cover, things like storms, whether it's snowing, raining, really windy, all of that can play into it. The KP index is what is measured the likelihood that you'll see the Northern Lights. The higher is always better, but there were nights that we saw them at 0.67 KP index. Positioning is also another key factor. You might have aurora in one place and not in another, and that could be the difference of 5 miles or 500 miles. And then timing. You might see them for 30 seconds. You might see them for 6 hours. You might see them in one place for a bit of time. You might see them in another place for a bit of time. So if you do want to see them, being on it, getting dressed, getting up, staying up between the hours of 9 p.m. till about 2 or 3 in the morning is going to yield you the best possible chance to see them.
So overall, it was a fantastic trip. I would recommend it.
Highly
It's
recommend.
probably one of the coolest like natural phenomenons I've ever witnessed. I sat in the snow for a good like 6 hours, just glued to my camera and tripod, moving around, checking out different things. We happened to get the Milky Way in some photos.
Yeah, that was cool.
It was a fantastic time. So I wouldn't let any of this discourage you that like, oh, they say you're going to see it more often than you will. You know, just be prepared that you may need to move, and when you see them, like, appreciate it, because it could be your first night, you may not see them the next three.
Yeah.
But they are truly fantastic and special.
Absolutely. I would say plan your winter trip to the destination you want to see as like a winter trip, whether that's Finland, like where we went, or Norway, Sweden, Alaska, parts of Russia. All of them have the capacity to see northern lights in the wintertime. But plan the trip, enjoy the activities that come with winter experiences. And then if you see the aurora, it's just icing on the cake. Obviously, you can do all of the things, bring all of the stuff to be prepared to see the aurora. You likely will on a trip of, a week or so. And I think we'd recommend going at least a week to be able to give yourself the best possible chance. But utilize it and think of it as a bonus instead of only going and only spending all of this money to see the aurora, to be disappointed if that's not the case.
And when you see it, be ready and start taking photos and enjoy it.
Yes.
Yes, and have fun.
Yeah, of course. That's number one all the time. All right, we'll catch you in the next video.